ever feel like you're just stuck, like on this hamster wheel, just chasing
Yeah.
deadlines,
Yeah.
juggling responsibilities,
Yeah.
and just battling that nagging feeling of being completely overwhelmed? Well, you're not alone.
Nope.
So today we're diving deep into these kind of intertwined worlds of stress and time management.
Okay.
And we're going to kind of uncover these like surprising truths about stress, shatter some of those myths that are always holding us back, and hopefully equip you with some practical strategies so you can reclaim some control over your time and your well-being.
Right. Sounds good.
A huge shout out to London HeartbeatsZ Academy over in the UK for their support on this deep dive.
Absolutely.
They have over 150 fantastic courses.
Wow.
I know, right? And they share just a ton of free information on all their social media channels. So make sure you check them out on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube to stay updated and make sure you don't miss any of our amazing discussions.
Right. Future discussions.
Right, future discussions.
Okay.
So I think it's like really fascinating how a lot of people view stress and time as these totally separate things, but they're so deeply intertwined.
Yeah.
When we feel like we're constantly fighting the clock,
Yeah.
our stress levels like just soar.
Yeah. Absolutely, they do.
So before we kind of jump into like solutions and stuff, let's talk about some of the like myths about stress and time.
Yeah.
The things that trip us up, you know.
Okay.
So I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that all stress is bad.
Yeah. A lot of people think that.
Right. But like we hear all this stuff about negative effects of stress. Is there such a thing as good stress?
Yeah, there is. Think about the excitement that you feel, before a big presentation, or, you have this deadline, you have that adrenaline rush. That's what we call eustress. It's a positive form of stress. It motivates you. It kind of energizes you.
Oh, okay. So it's more about how we perceive and manage the stress.
Yeah.
Not just trying to get rid of it completely.
Exactly. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Another myth is that planning your time actually takes more time.
Oh, I used to think that all the time. It seems so counterintuitive to like spend time planning when I could just be doing the task.
Yeah, I understand. But imagine you're going on a road trip.
Okay.
And you don't have a map. You might get there eventually.
Yeah.
But you're going to hit some detours, some wrong turns, right?
Yeah. You'll probably get lost.
You'll get lost, exactly. So a little bit of upfront planning can save you a lot of hassle and ultimately make you more efficient.
That's a great analogy because like a well-planned route, you're going to have a much smoother, less stressful journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And here's another one. A lot of people think time management is simply about having enough time.
Well, isn't it more about like prioritizing what we have and focusing on the right tasks?
Yes, exactly. It's about making choices.
Okay.
How we spend our time, even when we're busy.
So we can't magically create more time, but we can like kind of master how we use that time.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Okay, good. So that makes me feel better already. Another myth that I think prevents people from really dealing with stress is this belief that feeling okay means you're stress-free.
Right.
Like, I think we kind of push through our days and we feel a little tired or we snap at somebody.
Yeah.
But we don't think of that as being stressed.
Yeah. It's important to be self-aware and realize how that stress can manifest. It's not always like anxiety. It can be low energy. Maybe you're not sleeping well. You're irritable and you snap at people more. These are all signs of stress.
So we need to pay attention to those like little whispers of stress before they become like screams.
Yes, exactly. And finally, let's talk about substances like caffeine, alcohol, sugar. That'll help us power through and get more done.
Well, the quick fix, right.
Yeah, exactly. It might offer a temporary boost, but what happens?
You crash.
You crash. You can't focus.
Yeah.
And it leads to more stress. They're not good solutions.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've kind of busted some of the major myths, hopefully, about stress and time. So let's dive a little deeper. What is stress and how does it affect us?
So stress is your body's natural response to any demand that's placed on it. It's how you react, both physically and psychologically. Like that fight or flight, right?
Oh, yeah.
Perceived threats.
Okay, so this is like an evolutionary thing. It was designed to protect us from danger.
Exactly.
Okay. But today, those threats aren't, saber-toothed tigers, right? It's deadlines, it's traffic jams, it's relationships.
Exactly. It's finances.
Oh, finances.
Yeah.
Yeah. But our body still reacts the same way, even though the stressor is so different.
Exactly the same way.
Okay. But doesn't that mean that stress can be a good thing in some situations?
Yeah, if it's short-lived
Yeah.
and manageable, it can help us focus, it can help us perform better. It can even boost our immune system.
So it's about, like, finding that sweet spot,
Yeah.
where stress is a motivator, not a, like, detriment.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
But when it becomes chronic or it's just overwhelming,
Ah.
that's when it starts to have those really negative effects.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we know when the stress has gone too far? Like, what are the red flags?
Well, stress can show up in so many ways. It's different for everybody,
Yeah.
But there's 3 common ways people respond when they're stressed. Some get angry, they're agitated, they're frustrated easily, they might snap at people. Others withdraw, maybe they get depressed. They lose interest in things they used to enjoy. And then others, they freeze up.
Okay.
They can't act, they can't make decisions.
So it's like our body is trying to tell us something's wrong,
Yeah.
but we don't always get the message.
Exactly. Exactly. And these can show up in different ways, cognitively, emotionally, physically, behaviorally.
Okay, so let's break it down. What are some of the cognitive signs of stress?
So when you're stressed, your thinking gets cloudy.
Yeah.
You have memory problems.
Yeah.
You can't concentrate. You make bad judgments, maybe.
You overthink everything.
Yes. Negative thoughts.
Yeah, that brain fog, that's real.
Yes, absolutely real. Stress hormones, they interfere with our thinking process. It makes it hard to, think clearly, make decisions.
Okay, so what about emotionally? How does stress affect our feelings?
Well, you might feel anxious.
Mhm.
You might be irritable. You have mood swings. You feel overwhelmed. And you might even get depressed. You might also find it really hard to relax, or you have this feeling of dread or hopelessness.
So it can really, like, steal the joy out of life.
It can, and it doesn't stop there. It affects you physically, too.
So we're talking more than just, like, feeling tense or having a headache.
Way more. The physical symptoms are diverse,
Okay.
and people don't always realize they're related to stress.
Okay, so, like, what are some less obvious signs?
Okay, so stress can trigger muscle tension,
Mm-hmm.
which leads to aches and pains
Okay.
all over your body. It can mess with your digestion,
Right.
cause diarrhea, constipation. It can even affect your heart, chest pain, rapid heartbeat, high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And this might surprise you, but it weakens your immune system.
Oh, wow.
So you're more likely to get colds and infections and get sick.
Wow, it really does affect everything.
It does. It does.
Okay, so what causes all this stress?
Well, the sources of stress are as different as the people who experience them, right?
All right.
So we can kind of put them in general categories
Okay.
and then look at some specific examples.
Okay, let's start with the general categories.
Okay, so one is personal issues.
Okay.
Dealing with an illness, pregnancy,
Yeah.
planning a big event like a wedding.
Oh, so even those happy events can be stressful.
Absolutely, yeah. Any major life change, good or bad, requires you to adapt.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
Relationships,
Oh, of course.
romantic relationships,
Yeah.
friendships, family,
Mhm.
going through a breakup or a divorce, losing a loved one.
Yeah. They bring so much joy, but they can be so challenging.
For sure. And then there's finances.
Money. Yeah.
Always a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Struggling to pay bills, being in debt, worrying about money. It can weigh on you.
Especially nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, your job.
Work, school.
Yeah, feeling overwhelmed at work, difficult colleagues,
Mm-hmm.
exams, deadlines,
Yeah.
maybe losing your job.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so what about, like, those cultural differences you mentioned?
Right. So, for example, Americans, research shows that they're most stressed about money, the pressure they put on themselves,
Uh-huh.
lack of sleep, health concerns, and their workload. But Filipinos, their top stressors are jobs and studies, health reasons, personal relationships, finances, life changes, traffic, social media, and other factors.
It's fascinating how different cultures, like, value different things, and what they find stressful is so different.
It is.
Okay, so when we narrow it down even further
Yeah.
to specific groups like people in the workplace or students, what are their stressors?
Okay, so in the workplace, poor time management, feeling overwhelmed with work, lack of job satisfaction,
Right.
conflicting demands, not having enough resources to do your job, feeling unappreciated, lack of recognition.
That sounds like a recipe for burnout.
It is. It really is.
Yep.
And students, the pressure to succeed academically, time management,
Oh, yeah.
making decisions about their future,
Big decisions.
big decisions,
Yeah.
getting enough sleep, body image,
Social media.
social media, yeah, finances.
It's tough.
Family issues. It's a lot.
Yeah. So it's more demanding than ever to be a student.
It is. And it's not just adults. Kids feel stressed, too.
Oh, of course, yeah. What stresses kids out?
Well, grades,
Mm-hmm.
schoolwork, fitting in with their peers, family issues, bullying.
Yeah, it's a lot for, little minds to handle.
It is.
It's a reminder that stress really does affect everybody.
It does. So besides all these external factors, we also have to look at our thinking.
Okay, so it's not just the situation, it's how we interpret it.
Exactly. Our thoughts are super powerful. And there are thinking errors, we call them, that make our stress worse.
Oh, this is so interesting. It's like we have this internal dialogue that can, soothe us or just make everything worse.
It's true. It's true. So one is catastrophizing,
Okay.
imagining the worst case scenario.
Oh, yeah. Guilty of that.
Yeah, we all are. And can't stand it is thinking.
Okay.
Like, I can't deal with this.
Mhm.
What if thinking? Ruminating about what could go wrong.
Oh, yeah. Always thinking about the what ifs.
Exactly. Overgeneralizing. You take one negative event and apply it to your whole life.
So, instead of seeing a setback as temporary, you make it this, prominent thing.
Yes, exactly. Then there's personalizing. You blame yourself for stuff that's out of your control.
Oh, like you have to carry the weight of the world.
Yeah. Emotional reasoning. You let your feelings control your thoughts
Okay.
instead of, looking at things objectively.
So if you feel anxious, you think there must be danger.
Right. Even if there's no real threat.
Right.
Shitting on yourself.
Ooh.
Setting these unrealistic expectations and then beating yourself up when you don't meet them.
That's a hard one.
It is.
Hmm.
Minimizing, dismissing the good things and focusing on the negative.
Like wearing those, negativity glasses all the time.
Yes, exactly. And finally, there's pessimism
Okay.
and filtering, where you only see the negative.
Okay.
So you get stuck.
Wow, it really can be our own worst enemy.
It can. It can. So along with these thinking errors, how we see things, our resilience, and our coping skills all influence our stress levels.
So two people could experience the same thing, but their stress could be completely different.
Yes, it's true. Someone who's resilient might see a challenge as an opportunity to grow. Someone who's not might see it as a threat
Okay.
and get overwhelmed.
It's like we're seeing the world through different lenses.
Yes, that's a great analogy. And here's another thing. Even happy events can be stressful.
All right, yeah.
Like getting married,
Yeah.
having a baby, getting a promotion, all good things.
Yeah.
But they come with pressure.
It's easy to get caught up in the excitement and not realize how stressful those events can be.
Yeah, it's all about balance and developing healthy ways to cope,
Right.
which brings us to stress management techniques.
Okay, I am ready. How do we tame this stress monster?
Well, the first step is to realize that we turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Oh, yeah. What are some of those?
So when we're stressed, we reach for comfort food,
Mm-hmm.
alcohol,
Yep.
maybe drugs. We withdraw. Anything to numb those feelings. These give us temporary relief, but they're not good for us.
So we need to replace those with healthier habits.
Exactly. So instead of that extra glass of wine or that bag of chips, do something that nourishes your mind and body.
Okay, so like what? Give us some good examples.
Physical activity.
Oh, yeah, exercise. That's a good one. I always feel better after a good walk.
Yeah. Exercise is amazing. It boosts your mood, reduces anxiety, improves sleep, and just makes you feel better overall.
And it doesn't have to be crazy.
Right. No.
Like yoga or stretching can be helpful.
Absolutely. Find what you enjoy and do it regularly. And connecting with people. That's huge.
There's nothing like spending time with people who you care about or, supportive friends.
Exactly. Have dinner with family, catch up with a friend, join a group. Being social helps with stress, and it makes you feel like you belong.
It reminds us we're not alone.
Exactly. And sometimes the simplest things are the best.
Okay.
Make time for fun.
I love that. We get so caught up in the have-tos.
Yes.
We forget about the want-tos.
Yes. Read a book.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to music. Spend time in nature. Pursue a hobby. Or just relax and do nothing. Make time for enjoyment.
It's about giving yourself permission to recharge.
Exactly. And besides these lifestyle changes, there are some specific techniques for managing stress, like the 4 A's.
The 4 A's. Okay, what are those?
Okay, so the first one is avoid. Avoid unnecessary stress.
Wait, we can avoid stress.
Yeah. Well, to a certain extent, yes. Be aware of what triggers your stress and then take steps to minimize or eliminate them.
So like take control of your environment.
Exactly. Say no to extra commitments,
Okay.
set boundaries in relationships, simplify your routines to reduce overwhelm.
So be proactive instead of reactive.
Exactly. The second A is alter. If you can't avoid it, change it.
That's more empowering. How do we do that?
So talk to the person who's stressing you out.
Okay.
Find a better way to do the task. Or just change how you're thinking about it.
So take action.
Take action. The third A is adapt. Adjust your standards or your expectations.
So if you can't change the situation, change how you're thinking about it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Be more flexible.
Okay.
If you have a huge to-do list, break it down into smaller steps.
Okay.
If you're nervous about a presentation, practice.
Good tip.
And the fourth A is accept. Accept the things you can't change.
Oh, this one's tough.
It is. Sometimes life throws us curveballs.
Yeah.
We can't control everything. Accepting that is so important for peace of mind.
So recognize your limitations.
Yes.
Choose your battles wisely.
Exactly. And even when you're dealing with unavoidable stressors, there are healthy ways to cope.
Right. Okay, so we've talked about avoiding, altering, adapting, and accepting. What are some other things we can do?
Well, we talked about physical activity,
Right.
social connection,
Yeah.
making time for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Living a healthy lifestyle is so important. Eat well, get enough sleep, and do some relaxation techniques.
Mind, body, and spirit, it's all connected.
It is. It's all connected.
Okay, this has been so insightful.
Yeah.
We've talked about stress,
Mm.
the causes, the symptoms,
Yeah.
and what to do about it. So let's switch gears and talk about time management.
Okay, sounds good.
What is it? Why is it so important?
So time management is basically about planning and being in control of how much time we spend on things
Okay.
so that we can be more effective, efficient, and productive.
So why is it so essential today? Everybody feels so pressed for time.
You're right. That feeling of not having enough time is everywhere. And that's exactly why time management is so important. It allows us to take control of our days
Right.
and choose how we spend our time.
So it's about designing your life, not letting it control you.
Exactly.
So this is all fascinating. What do you find most interesting about this, connection between stress and time management? What gets you excited about this?
I think what's really interesting is that by learning these skills, we can unlock our potential to live better, more meaningful lives. It's not about checking things off a to-do list. It's about making time for what matters, spending time with people we love, pursuing passions,
Right.
just enjoying some peace and quiet.
It's about creating a life that you love.
Exactly.
Okay. I think this is a great place to stop for now. We've covered a lot. We talked about stress.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the importance of time management. When we come back, we're going to dive into some practical strategies to master your time and find that balance.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. Before the break, we were exploring the complex world of stress.
Mm-hmm.
We debunked some common myths,
We did.
and we uncovered how deeply stress and time management are connected.
Yeah, they really are.
So now let's dive into the practical side of time management.
Okay.
Where do we even begin?
Well, I think the foundation of effective time management is really self-awareness.
Okay.
Before you can implement any strategies or techniques, you really need to understand your own patterns,
Mm-hmm.
your preferences, your strengths.
So like getting to know yourself better,
Exactly.
especially how you interact with time.
Yes, and a great place to start is to track your time for a few days. Keep a log.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it can be really eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
By tracking your activities throughout the day, you'll start to see where your time is actually going.
It's like holding up a mirror to your habits and routines.
Exactly. And once you have that clear picture of how you're spending your time,
Okay.
you can identify those areas where you're maybe wasting time.
Mm-hmm. Or where you could be more efficient.
So being more mindful of how we're spending those precious hours.
Exactly. And along with tracking your time, pay attention to your energy levels.
Okay.
Throughout the day, are you a morning person
Oh, yeah.
who likes to tackle things early?
Big time.
Or are you a night owl
Nope.
who does their best work when it's quiet?
Oh, I'm definitely a morning person.
Okay.
I find that my focus just kind of goes downhill as the day goes on.
That's good to know, because once you know your peak productivity times,
Mm-hmm.
you can schedule those demanding tasks for those high energy windows.
So work with your natural rhythms, not against them.
Exactly.
I like that.
And finally, take some time to think about every task on your to-do list.
Okay.
Is it really essential?
Mm-hmm.
Or can it be delegated,
Okay.
delayed,
Mm-hmm.
or even just get rid of it altogether?
So this is where we have to be ruthless.
A little bit.
Prioritize what matters.
Yes.
And let go of the rest. It's so easy to just get caught up in the busyness of doing. But you have to step back
Right.
and ask yourself, is this task really helping me reach my goals?
It's about being intentional with
Exactly.
your time and energy.
Exactly. Once you understand yourself and your time a little better,
Okay.
it's time to set some goals.
Goals? Okay.
They're not just any guys, smart goals.
Smart goals.
You've heard of them.
Yes. But remind me what it stands for.
Okay, so SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound.
So it's not enough to just say, I want to be less stressed.
Right.
Or I want to be more productive.
No.
We have to define those goals so they give us direction
Right.
and a way to track our progress.
Exactly. So let's break it down.
Okay.
Specific means clearly defining what you want to achieve.
Okay.
So instead of saying, I want to exercise more,
Right.
you would say, I will walk for 30 minutes 3 times a week.
Much more specific.
Right. What about measurable?
Okay. Measurable.
Measurable means you can track your progress. Mm-hmm.
So for the exercise example, you could track your walks on a calendar or an app.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And attainable means setting realistic goals.
Right. Something you can actually achieve.
Yes, it's good to challenge yourself, but be kind to yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
Set goals that are within reach.
What about relevant?
Relevant means making sure your goals align with your values and your priorities.
Mm-hmm.
So if your goal is to write a book, but you're spending all your time scrolling social media,
Right.
your actions aren't supporting your goal.
So they need to be meaningful.
Yes.
And reflect what you really want.
Exactly. And time-bound means setting deadlines.
Deadlines, I like that.
Yeah, it creates a sense of urgency and accountability.
Keeps you on track.
It does.
Okay, so once you've set your SMART goals, you need a system
Yes.
to track them and manage your time.
Exactly. And that's where choosing the right planning tool comes in.
Oh, there's so many options out there. What are some of the most popular? You know, there are tons of great options, both digital and analog. Some people like electronic calendars,
Right.
project management apps, to-do list apps,
Yeah.
or even just a simple notebook and pen.
It's all about personal preference.
It is. Experiment with different tools until you find one that you'll actually use.
Make it easy on yourself.
Yeah, make it effortless.
Okay, so once you have a planning system in place, it's time to get organized.
That's right. I love that part.
Me too. It makes me feel in control.
It really does. Start by organizing your physical space.
Okay.
A clutter-free workspace can do wonders for your focus.
Oh, 100% agree with that.
A messy desk, messy mind.
It's true.
It really is. It's amazing how much our physical environment affects us.
Okay, so what are some other tips for getting organized?
Well, have a place for everything so you don't waste time looking for things.
Right.
Create a system for filing, whether it's paper or digital files,
Okay.
and combine similar activities to make things more efficient.
So create systems and routines to simplify your life.
Exactly. And as you start to master your time,
Mm.
remember that it's not just about being productive.
Right.
It's about achieving a sense of self-satisfaction.
Self-satisfaction. That's a good goal.
It is. And remember, it's a process, not a destination.
Right.
It's about making choices that align with your values, setting healthy boundaries,
Wow.
and prioritizing your well-being.
So creating a life that feels authentic.
Yes. And there are 5 key principles to guide you on this journey towards self-satisfaction.
Okay. Tell me more.
The first is to be free. Take control of your time and your choices.
Love that.
Don't let other people tell you how to spend your time.
Reclaim your autonomy.
Yes, exactly.
Make conscious choices about how you want to spend your time.
The second principle is to be flexible. Life is unpredictable.
Always.
Things don't always go as planned. Be willing to adapt.
Roll with the punches.
Exactly. Embrace the unexpected.
So let go of that need for control.
Yes. Go with the flow.
Embrace the ebb and flow of life.
The third principle is to be responsible.
Okay.
Hold yourself accountable for your actions and your commitments.
Own your choices, good and bad.
That's right. The fourth principle is to be realistic.
Okay.
Set achievable goals. Don't try to do too much at once.
Be ambitious, but also be kind to yourself.
Exactly. And finally, the fifth principle is to be happy.
Okay.
Prioritize activities that bring you joy.
Yes, life is too short to be miserable.
It is. Make time for the things that light you up.
The things that give you purpose.
Exactly. Time management is not just about productivity. It's about creating a life you love.
This has been so insightful. We've learned so much.
Good.
From understanding our relationship with time to setting SMART goals
Right.
to finding self-satisfaction.
Yes.
So let's wrap things up and highlight some key takeaways for our listeners.
Okay, sounds good.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into stress and time management, let's kind of connect the dots and maybe pull out some key takeaways for our listeners.
Okay, yeah.
What have we learned?
Well, one of the biggest things to remember is that stress and time management, they're like totally connected.
Right. When we feel overwhelmed and out of control, like with our time, our stress just goes through the roof.
Yeah. And on the flip side, when you learn how to manage your time well, it creates this sense of order and control, which can really help reduce stress.
It's a win-win.
It is.
Mastering one helps us master the other.
Exactly. And here's a key takeaway. Both stress and time management, they're like essential life skills.
Yeah, if you want to lead a fulfilling life and be successful.
It's about being in charge of your own well-being and kind of creating the life you want. And
Yeah.
it's important to remember it's a journey,
Oh, yeah.
not a destination. There will be bumps along the way.
Right.
But by using the strategies we've talked about, you can make a lot of progress towards a more peaceful, productive, and happier life.
So it's about making those little choices every day to put your well-being first.
Exactly. So here's something to think about. What's one small thing you can do, like today, to feel more in control of your time and reduce some stress?
That is a great question. I love that. Could be something simple, like writing a to-do list,
Yeah.
or scheduling a walk, or even just saying no to something.
Yeah, anything. Every little step matters.
Progress over perfection.
Yes. And before we go, we want to thank London HeartbeatsZ Academy again for supporting this deep dive.
They are just an incredible resource for anyone looking to, grow and develop personally and professionally.
For sure. Be sure to check out their website, their socials, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube. They have so much free information and over 150 amazing courses.
We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into stress and time management. We really encourage you to use the info we've shared today and, take those steps to create that productive and fulfilling life.
Yeah, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for balance.
You got this.